I would like to discuss about what was happened with the birth rate. You noticed that 9 months after massive vaccination, birth rate dropped down in 13 European countries.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Dr. Chandler wrote a report about that. I know he's been on your show, and he gathered data that had been put out by multiple people about what was happening with birth rates, mostly across the Western world. I believe he may have also mentioned Taiwan and Australia in there, but significant declines that showed a clear temporal or time association with when vaccinations started and then when the birth rate started declining. And one thing that's interesting in discussing the birth rate decline, I believe I remember this correctly, is it wasn't seen in Romania. Romania had very low uptake of the vaccine, so it's almost like it was a control group against these other countries that had high uptake of the vaccine.
Yes, and infants and children under 12 given the Pfizer mRNA COVID vaccine 7 months before pediatric approval, 71% of adverse events cases classified as serious.
Yes, I don't know how it actually happened that they were given this drug before it was approved for them, but it did, and it's in Pfizer's own documentation. And one thing we have wondered about in seeing that children did receive it and what happened to them is what dose they were given, because there wasn't a pediatric dose identified yet. So did they receive an adult dose? How in the world were they given a dose at all when they clearly weren't eligible to receive it? There should have been controls around that. And there were many adverse events among the children that received it.
Well, Pfizer and FDA knew in early 2021 that Pfizer mRNA COVID vaccine caused dire fetal and infant risk, including death. They began an aggressive campaign to vaccinate pregnant women anyway.
Yes, Pfizer created a report internally that was called the Pregnancy and Lactation Cumulative Review. I want to say it was maybe around 15 pages, if I remember correctly. And so they were looking into what was going on with pregnant women and then women who are breastfeeding their children. And the outcomes were truly frightening. There's a list in there that is quite long of all the adverse events babies were suffering. And we know that from biodistribution studies that the vaccine crosses the placental barrier. So it gets to the fetus in the womb. So the fetus is receiving it there if the mother gets vaccinated. And then additionally, if she's breastfeeding, it can also go through the breast milk. That's been scientifically proven as well. And so the baby's essentially receiving another dose of it. And they had everything from fussiness to fluid outside of their lungs to vomiting and of course like diarrhea, all those types of things. But there were even deaths, like you said.